Okay, tonight I'm going to talk about how Humpty and Benny Hill are helping to save lives from breast cancer, but that's not the title of my presentation. My presentation is about how to be a Yorkshire genius, and it's based on the work of Graham Wallace from the 1920s, and he wrote a kind of 4-stage process, but I've kind of made it a bit Yorkshire because I didn't like all the terminology. So this is all about how to be a Yorkshire genius, and you have to start, in order to be a genius, you have to start with a problem. And one of the best definitions I've heard of a genius is talent plus imagination equals genius. So we're going to start with a problem, and if you don't have any problems of your own, I've got plenty and I can lend you some. So this is the problem of getting a quart into a pint pot, but you can pick any problem you like. And the very first stage you need to go through is flummoxed. If that's not flummoxed, there's not solving the problem. You need to explore the problem and learn about it, and one of the problems that we have is we want to rush straight to a solution. How many women have ever talked to their man about their day and he's immediately solving the problem? We need to stay flummoxed. And in order to stay flummoxed, we need to make friends with things we don't understand, and the square root of a negative number I really don't get, but if I don't make friends with it, I'm never going to solve things with it. And it made a real difference for mathematicians. So stage 2, you feed your brain with information and then you let it sit, and it's called mashing. So if you're into having a brew, then you can have a brew and just kind of think of something else, or go for a walk, or have a bath, and that's the mashing stage. And I now wonder if Newton would have really solved gravity, because we're so busy going from one place to another. Do we ever actually sit down and let apples fall on our heads? I don't know, it's never happened to me. So you've got to have this kind of time where you let your brain go off and try and solve it. And then you have what is a eureka moment, or in Yorkshire I think it's more of a bayek moment, when you suddenly go, oh, got something. And for me it's kind of like an ephemeral thing, like a butterfly. It's kind of, it comes into your mind and it might well go out again straight away. So the first thing you have to do is you've got to catch your idea, you've got to write it down, even if it's in the middle of the night, you've got to make some note that you can even read in the morning, because we've all done that. So you've got to kind of capture your idea, and this is the stage of inspiration that people talk about. Inspiration itself is not enough. Everyone's got loads of ideas. In order to do something with it, you've got to get into the phase of onto summit. So you've got to make it come alive. You've got to love your idea, and you've got to make it, you've got to take it to the next stage. And this is me, or someone, breathing life into their idea. You can pick whatever you like for that shape. I've kind of made it vague, but you need to breathe life into it as soon as possible and get it out there and get people looking at it and commenting on stuff. So this is back to breast cancer, so we will get back to Benny Hill, don't worry. And this is to do with survival rates, and lots of women die from breast cancer because they don't get to the doctor early enough. The red line is early diagnosis, the black line's late diagnosis. And there are lots of symptoms that women don't know about, and I didn't know about until this year, so I found out about them, and I thought, I'm going to tell the world. And at Bettakultcha, or Bettakultcha, you can only talk to 100 people at a time, and I wanted to take the whole world, just like a small problem. But I was really confused about how to talk about breast cancer and breasts without it going all Benny Hill on me. And if anybody doesn't know who Benny Hill is, just look him up, you'll find out. But I really didn't want it to be attracting the kind of Benny Hill audience when I'm trying to save people's lives. So that was my flummox stage, and I'm kind of exploring it, reading about it, reading random things as well, because it's not just things about the problem you want to do, you want to read about all sorts of things, and come to nights like this because you never know where inspiration strikes. So now I'm in mashing stage. This is me asleep, and all this stuff is going around in my brain, and I didn't know it was going around in my brain. I was dreaming about something which was actually much more interesting, and then this idea pops into my head, and I have a bayek moment. And it is this. The idea is simple, and it's a circle and a triangle, and it changed everything. And I kind of just went, circle and a triangle, and then I went, ooh, a circle and a triangle. And it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going, right, okay, just write it down and go back to sleep. But anyway, before I know it, I'm up. I've never drawn. I haven't drawn in 20 years because I'm a scientist and I don't draw. So I've got the roughest felt tip pens, and I'm drawing things that look like the play school windows, the circle window, the square, and suddenly I get this, and she's called Mary. And she's not a Benny Hill thing. I've got away from the Benny Hill thing, but I can talk about the symptoms of breast cancer. And her name's Mary. So this is the idea, the inspiration, and it starts to grow. And before you know it, I was on to Summit, and I had it on YouTube, and about 2,000 people have seen it. And if you all go and see it, then there's more lives we can save. So have a look and be a Yorkshire genius.